धार्मिक गिरिधारी श्री श्री राधा विनोद बिहारी जू की जाय। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन जू की जाय। राधा नयननाथ जू की जाय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपाद अशुतर शत शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत नारायण गोसाई महाराज श्री गुरुदेव की जाय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपाद अशुतर शत शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जाय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपाद अशुतर शत शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की जाय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपाद अशुतर शत शिशिमार भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जाय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपाद अशुतर शत शिशिमार भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जाय। नित्याल्प विष्णु महाभगवत श्रील गोरक्षरदास बाबूजी महाराज की जाय। नित्याल्प विश्व श्री सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जाय। नित्याल्प विष्णु वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथ दास बाबूजी महाराज की जाय। श्री रूपानुकूर्य गुरु वर्ग की जय। जय श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्ट दास रघुनाथ शारद गोसाई प्रभु की जय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी श्री गौर पार्षद वृंद की जय। नाम जय श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल कोरमंडल व्रजमंडल मथुर वृंदावन धाम की जय। सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदत्त गिरिराज महाराज की जय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जय। श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योग माया की जय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय। जय नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपाद शिशुमार भक्ति भक्ति विज्ञान भारती गोसाई महाराज की जय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपाद शिशुमार भक्ति बल्लभ तीर्थ गोसाई महाराज की जय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपाद शिल भक्ति दायित माधव गोसाई महाराज की जय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपाद शिल भक्ति भक्ति प्रमोद पुरी गोसाई महाराज की जय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपाद शिल भक्ति रक्षक श्रीधर गोसाई महाराज की जय। All the associates of Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, and all the disciples, perfect disciples of those associates ki jai, and their grand disciples and great grand disciples ki jai. Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Jai Shri Abhiram Thakur ki jai. Tadya Shubha Tirova Titi ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrind ki jai. समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। Hare Krishna. Okay, let's do the Mangala Charan and then we'll begin. Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Shri Siddhanta Saraswati Vidito Kodiya Gurvanvaye Bhato Bhanuriva Prabhata Gagane Yogora Sankirtanai Maya Varati Mingilo Daragatan Udritya Jiva Niman Krishna Prema Sudabdi Kahana Sukham Pradat Prabhung Tang Bhaje Vande Bhakti Vinodam Shri Gaura Shakti Swarupakam Bhakti Shastragya Samrajam Radha Rasa Sudha Nidhim Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanugavarayate Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वृन्दाय तुलसीदेवाय प्रियाय केशवस्य च कृष्ण भक्ति प्रददेवी सत्यवताय नमो नमः। भज श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासरि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranams, Nri Hari. Oh, wait, let's do before we start anything. Let's recite the Pranam mantra of Śrīla Bhakti Ballabha Gosvāmī Maharaj. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Shri Gaura Priyamurtaye Srimate Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Namine Mayavada Vikhandanam Kurorvanyānukirtanam Paschadeshopadeshakam Prasanna Vadanang Sada Shuddha Bhakti Pravahakam Shuddha Bhakti Bhagiratam Bhakti Daita Madhava Bhinna Tanung Namamyaham Nama Sankirtanamrita Rasaswada Vidhayakam Krishnam Naya Kripamurtim Acharyam Tam Namamyaham Kauranama Pracharardram Bhakta Sevanukangshitam Satirtha Pritti Sadbhava Nomi Tirtha Mahashayam. Jai Śrīla Bhakti Bhagavad Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki Jai. Right. Dandavat Pranams, dear devotees, Nri Hari Prabhu, Bhavatarani Mataji, Nitai Mukeshji, Brian, Rukmini Didi, and Guru Nishta Prabhu, and Ganga Mataji, Indira Mataji, Raseshwari Mataji, and all the other devotees who are joining, who are there on YouTube and Facebook, and who are watching in the future also. Dandavat Pranams to all of you. So we're continuing our reading of Sweetest, the divine pastimes of Śrīla Bhakti Ballabha Gosvāmī Maharaj. These are all his final pastimes, this book. Yeah, so I just got a message from the author of this book, Shripad Bhakti Suhrit Paramadvaiti Maharaj, and he said that he will be able to join our program tomorrow. He'll be joining probably around, I'm guessing he'll be joining at like 8 a.m., which is usually the time we finish our program. So I'm going to make a poll in our WhatsApp group to see if I should start at our normal time and just have like a 1.5 hour program, or if I should start half an hour later and then just have an hour program. Maybe I'll start at 7:30 instead of 7 a.m. Right now it's 7 a.m. So maybe we should start in half an hour from now, and then we can just have a 1 hour program and he'll join the second half of the program. I'll make a poll in the group so that I can see what everybody wants. So today is also the disappearance day of Abhiram Thakur. Thankfully, Indira Mataji messaged me right before I started because I totally forgot, and she reminded me. So I think maybe we can begin by reading about Abhiram Thakur from this book of Śrīla Bhakti Ballabha Gosvāmī Maharaj, Shri Gaur and his associates. So I'm just sharing my screen. Haribol Vangsiwala Prabhu. Okay. So there it is. Shri Abhiram Thakur, Shri Ram Das. Okay, so he's also known as Shri Ram Das. Make the text big. There. Shri Nityananda Prabhu was Abhiram Thakur's life and soul. He was Sridham, one among the 12 cowherd boys in Vraj, the older brother of Srimati Radhika. So Pura Sridhama Namasid Abhirama Dhuna Mahan Dvatring Shata Janair Eva Bahyam Kashtam Ubahasa. He who was previously known as Sridham is today Abhiram Thakur. He picked up a piece of wood that took 32 men to lift. Wow, 32 men. And he lifted up himself. So that's from Gaura-Gunadashtipika 126. Abhiram Thakur lived with his wife Malini Devi in the village of Kanakul Krishnanagar in the Hooghly district. Kana refers to the Dwarkeshwar river. Kula means banks. Thus, the village of Krishnanagar on the banks of the Dwarkeshwar river is known as Kanakul Krishnanagar. At the doors of his temple stands a large bakula tree, and the place is popularly called Siddha Bakula Kunj. This is the place where Abhiram Thakur first sat down when he arrived in the village. The Gopinath Didi was found when digging for a pond. The Gopinath Didi was found when digging for a pond first began. This pond goes by the name of Shri Abhiram Kund. The temple also houses the deities of Vraja Ballabha, Gopala, and Shalikram Shila. I wonder if there are pictures. It'd be nice to see what this looks like. I'm just going to check on. Let's see, what do I write in? Abhiram Thakur. Oops. Thakur. What would be a keyword? Siddha Bakul Kunj. Siddha Bakul Kunj. Let's see if there's any pictures. There is. Oh. So here are the Radha Gopinath deities at that place. It's very high resolution pictures. It's taking a while to load. Open image in new tab. Okay, and then let's see if there are other pictures of the place. Anyhow, we can have darshan at the top. It's not. Anyways, whatever. Okay, let's continue on. Abhiram Thakur lived with his wife Malini Devi. Oh wait, I just read that. Okay. Okay, so this pond goes, okay. Shri Abhiram Thakur was a very vigorous and powerful acharya. He engaged in preaching on the orders of Lord Nityananda Prabhu and saved many atheists and people opposed to the Vaishnava religion. And now here's a quote from Bhakti Ratnakar, 103 to 104. Abhiram Gosvāmī possessed tremendous spiritual power. The atheists trembled whenever they saw him. He was intoxicated as though he had been possessed by Nityananda Prabhu, and his enchanting mercies are famed throughout the world. Mercies, interesting. His enchanting mercy is famed throughout the world. Now here's a quote from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi-līlā, chapter 10, 116. Abhiram Das was fully absorbed in the mood of friendship. He lifted a stick that contained 16 knots and prepared a flute out of it. This Chaitanya Charitamrita verse is making reference to the same piece of wood that, according to the Gorgonrish Dipika, would have taken hundreds of people to pick it up. After Abhiram Das lifted it, he held it like a flute. Now, this is from Bhakti Ratnakar 4:123. He held in his hands a piece of wood that 100 men could not move. He held it in the way one holds a flute. The devotees were greatly astonished when they saw him perform such superhuman feats. According to one legend, whenever Abhiram Thakur paid his obeisances to a stone or statue, if it was not a Vishnu-shīla or a consecrated deity, an installed deity, it would crack or be reduced to powder. Non-devotees were also unable to tolerate his pranams. Nityananda Prabhu's son Virachandra Goswami and Gangamata Goswamini survived his obeisances, which confirmed their divinity. So if he wanted to kill somebody, just offer his pranams to them and deadly pranams. But Virachandra and Gangamata Goswami, Nityananda Prabhu's son and daughter, they survived his obeisances. These things are written in ashtaks. These things are written in ashtaks composed by Abhiram Thakur in their name. I'm curious what he wrote in his ashtak. And okay, so Śrīla Abhiram Thakur possessed an amazing whip, which he named Jaya Mangal. Anyone touched by this whip would immediately experience transcendental ecstasies of prem. I want to see the Jaya Mangal. Let's see if that's still Abhiram Thakur Jaya Mangal. Let's type in Jaya Mangal. Jaya Mangal. Or whip. Maybe I'll type in whip. Or maybe it's not. Maybe they don't still have it. Whip. No, I can't find any pictures. Okay. Anyone touched by this whip would immediately experience the transcendental ecstasies of prem. One day, Srinivasacharya visited Abhiram Thakur, who touched the whip to the body of Srinivasacharya. Abhiram's wife, Malini, stopped her husband from doing so again, saying that Srinivas was just a young lad who wouldn't be able to tolerate the effects of divine love. Nevertheless, Srinivasacharya was very dear to Abhiram and received many blessings from him. Though not his initiated disciple, he was like a disciple to him. The Jaya Mangal whip is still held in a chest in Krishna Nagar temple. Bet we could find it. Anyways, maybe we can look at the very end of the program. We can see if there are any videos on YouTube. In the Bhakti Ratnakar, the following statement is also made. This is from Bhakti Ratnakar 4:105 to 108. O Srinivas, how much more can I say? Abhiram descended into this world in order to deliver it. Appearing in a Brahmin family, he became a scholar in all the scriptures and an unequaled musician, not only in song and playing musical instruments, but in dance also. He married at Nityananda Prabhu Balaram's request. His wife Malini is also indescribably powerful. Many people say that the Bali Mat in Puri was established by Abhiram Thakur. An annual festival is held in Kanakul Krishnanagar on his disappearance day. That is the Chaitra Krishna Saptami. So today is Chaitra, it's the month of Chaitra, and it's Krishna Saptami. Our Param Guru, Jagat Guru Śrīla Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada visited the site along with his associates when traveling on the parikrama of Sri Gaura Mandal. At that time, the devotees in charge of the temple greeted him with great hospitality and honored him and his followers with special treatment. So, Jai Abhiram Thakur ki Jai. Didn't Abhiram Thakur also have, I think there's a place where Raghunandan and Abhiram Thakur both danced, and then the ankle bell flew off of Abhiram Thakur's foot, and it went like 1 kilometer distance, and the place where it fell became a kund or something like that, and it's called Nupur Kund. I think I remember going there on Gaurumandal Purukamo. All right, so Jai Abhiram Thakur ki Jai. Now we will read from Sweet, Sweeter, Sweetest. We're beginning the 3rd section today. What is it called? I think it's called Entering Nitya-līlā or something. Haribol Sarveshwari Mataji and Chatamai Mataji. Haribol. Just seeing if anybody else joins on YouTube. Oh, Dandavat Pranams, Shripad Bhaktivedanta Sajan Maharaj and Mahi Bharat Prabhu, Dandavat Pranams Prabhu, and Vidyalala Sadidi. Haribol. Okay. I don't have my microphone today because I wasn't expecting to spend the night in Mayapur. It was kind of just a spontaneous last minute decision, and so I didn't bring all my things. Okay. So I think I'm gonna back up a little bit just so that because this last part was really important about the disappearance of pure devotee and their sickness pastimes. Yeah. What's his name? Paramadevi Maharaj wrote about it very beautifully, and this is a nice thing to lead us into the 3rd section. So he says, a materialistically minded person thinks that a devotee undergoes suffering due to such so-called health complications. But in reality, it is not the fact. A devotee's sole purpose of enacting illness pastimes is to grant eternal welfare to the surrendered devotees, to surrendered souls. In a letter to one of his disciples, Śrīla Bhaktivedanta Vaman Gosai Maharaj, he wrote, and this came in an issue of Raise of the Harmonist, he's quoting from, those who are in the category of Guru Tattva, who are true representatives of the absolute truth, they do not possess bodies composed of the 5 gross elements. Consequently, when they appear to be in a state of ill health, it has been as abhinay, or a performance. One must not assume that Guru and Vaishnavas are in some way mundane. If one should do so, then there will be a chance of perceiving the transcendent as material and to thereby commit an offense. So that's in Raise of the Harmonist, Year 6 special issue. Furthermore, some disciples of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada have mentioned, a Mahabhagavat is not an ordinary living being, bound to suffer the result of his previous actions, his karma. His residence and wanderings in this world are solely for the welfare of the world, i.e., for the welfare of all living beings. Any illness enacted by a Mahabhagavat should never be equated with suffering born of the 3-fold worldly miseries. While manifesting the perfect ideal of Vipralambamoy Bhajan, devotion suffused with deep feelings of separation, a Mahabhagavat actually deceives those who are offenders and who are they deceive those who are offenders and extremely antagonistic to Bhagavan. Yet simultaneously, he confers the opportunity to serve upon those who are sevonmukh, who are inclined to the rendering of service. And he demonstrates throughout his life the perfect ideal of following the instruction, serve Sri Hari with intense endeavor and enthusiasm, even amid worldly tribulations. So that is a quote from that was from the weekly Gaudiya magazine of Srila Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, and also published in Raise of the Harmonist, number 24. In a variety of his pastimes, Srila Gurudev spoke volumes about the innate nature of devotion to Sri Krishna and the activities of his devotees at various stages of their devotion. Though through his exemplary conduct in his Acharya-līlā, he strictly followed all the limbs of sadhan bhakti to the point of perfection, and thereby established and propagated the pure devotional doctrines throughout the entire world. In his spiritual immersions, while chanting the holy names and while contemplating his Gurudev's lotus feet, He exhibited various bodily transformations that were the result of an overflow of transcendental divine love, thus depicting the characteristics of a devotee in Bhav Bhakti. And via his inconceivable activities in transcendental madness, he showed us the nature of Vipralamba Prem, love and separation. However, another stage of Prem Bhakti, where all the external activities of the senses come to a halt and the devotee relishes bliss internally, that remains to be illustrated by him. Therefore, he mercifully unveiled those pastimes at this significant juncture. He now began a new chapter of transcendental pastimes, the ultimate stage of complete absorption. What followed him was not just a flood of devotees, but the love and affection he had offered to everyone over the many years. So now we begin the third section, entrance into Nitya-līlā. Srila Gurudev's distinctive way of welcoming everyone affectionately, his generosity, his most charming smile and soft speech, unfailingly and instantaneously captivated the heart of anyone who came in contact with him. His characteristic smile was like an all-purpose tonic, capable of curing any kind of ailment. And I'm not sure if you saw the YouTube thumbnail I've been making, but it's really beautiful. It's this, you can see this smile. Once again, I'm just finding it. Oops, wrong thing. Here. Where is it? Here. See, look at that. See that smile. So, yeah, his characteristic smile was like an all-purpose tonic capable of curing any kind of ailment. No one is aware of a single darshan, no one is aware of a single darshan of his that lacked a mesmerizing, sweet smile and pleasant welcome note. Oh, you have come? Or, are you quite all right? His amiable exchanges with the devotees in their native language. Sorry, yeah, his amiable exchanges with the devotees in their native languages on certain occasions can never be forgotten by them. In fact, Srila Gurudev filled he's referring to his personal servants, our hearts with numerous special memories. His intimate interactions, jovial nature, and displays of humor and wit with us assured us. So all these interactions assured us of having the shelter of an abode of true love. The love, care, and affectionate instructions we received from him shielded us from many great dangers and kept us enthusiastic in our services rendered to him. However, toward the end of 2013, Srila Gurudev suspended his external communication with everyone and exhibited the pastime of complete inner absorption. He withdrew all his senses from the external world and exclusively relished the bliss of service to his object of worship within his transcendental mind. To a person with material vision, he was apparently in some kind of illness. But the actual fact is that he was acting according to the sweet divine will of the Supreme Lord to bestow the opportunity of service upon his surrendered disciples and dear ones. Thereby, he rains the greatest welfare upon them. And I just know from my Gurudev's own, my own Srila Gurudev's, when he enacted these illness pastimes, it completely changed the life of all of his disciples, like all of my god brothers and god sisters. Like we all began praying and chanting and becoming so serious, and like there was an intensity to everybody's. And so if he had not enacted that illness pastime, then there wouldn't have, it wouldn't have had that effect, that everybody went into such a like serious mode of sadhan, like so that's his mercy to everybody. Um, Srila Gurudev was brought to GNRC that's the Guwahati Neurological Research Center, Guwahati, on November 28, 2013 at 6 a.m. The doctors assessed his health and deemed it to be extremely critical. They predicted that he might conclude his earthly pastimes in approximately 5 days. According to them, scant medical support was available for a person of that age in such a critical state of health. They said, only prayers can help. Soon, the message was conveyed to the governing body members of our organization and Śrīla Gurudev's godbrothers and disciples across the globe. As word of his critical state of health reached everyone, the organization's senior members, along with his disciples and well-wishers, planned their immediate trip to Guwahati. In no time, the Guwahati branch of Sri Chaitanya Gaudiya Math was full. Devotees queued up at the hospital to have his darshan and were also eager to hear the frequent updates about his health. Hospital turned into a place of pilgrimage. The hospital was constantly filled with devotees who had come to receive Śrīla Gurudev's darshan. They paid no heed to the limited visiting hours of the hospital. No hospital staff could control the flood of devotees and their emotions. Even though there were occasional complaints from the management, nothing could keep them away from that place. Many of them preferred to stay there, although there were no proper sitting or resting places. They somehow managed to take care of their basic bodily needs, but did not mind undergoing physical challenges to stay in the lobby of the hospital or to hang around the ICU. For them, the hospital was now a math. Arati, prasad, chanting, singing kirtans, and all other devotional activities were held at the hospital. This is verily true, for the sadhus themselves are temples due to the fact that the Supreme Lord resides in their hearts. Sadhavo hridayam mahyam, sadhunam hridayam tvaham, madanyate jananti, naham tebhyo managapi. That's from Srimad Bhagavatam, 9th Canto, Chapter 4, verse 68. The Supreme Lord said to Durvasa Muni, the sadhus are in my heart, and I am in the heart of the sadhus. The sadhus are my heart, and I am the heart of the sadhus. The sadhus know nothing but me, and even I do not consider anyone else other than the sadhus as my own. During those days, Śrīla Gurudev unreservedly engaged all of his disciples in his service. They were seen to involve themselves in various kinds of services as per their capability and interest. While we were absorbed in his direct services, other devotees assisted us in different ways. Some of them offered prayers. Some of them performed kirtans on the streets near the hospital, engaging the outsiders in Saṅkīrtana. A few other devotees engaged their minds and intelligence in service by thinking about how to improve his care and possible alternative therapies for the betterment of his health. All the diverse physical and mental capabilities of the devotees were unified with the goal of one pointed service to him. The initial predictions of the doctors that Śrīla Gurudev would deprive us all of his physical association in 5 days had been proven false by him, much to the pleasure of the Vaishnavas across the world. Their faith in his miraculous powers increased in anticipation of being graced by his prolonged association. Dr. N.C. Bora and his team of doctors were pleasantly surprised upon seeing minor improvements in his health and remarked, "We can see a divine aura on his face. Such saints possess supernatural powers by which they can cure themselves. He also seems to be answering the sincere prayers of his disciples and well-wishers. Those prayers are imbued with immense power. Please continue them." On each of his medical visits, Dr. Bora would receive darshan of the lotus feet of Śrīla Gurudev first, and then touch them gently with his palms before placing those palms on his head. He would then close his eyes and offer prayers mentally before starting his medical assessment and offering advice. So even just an ordinary doctor was able to recognize the transcendental nature of a pure devotee in their body like that. Every day, a few doctors, some nurses and staff, both technical and non-technical, came to pay their respects to Srila Gurudev before engaging in their duties. After finishing their shift, they again paid their respectful obeisances to him before they left for home. Relatives of the surrounding patients came during visiting hours and bowed down to him, praying for the well-being of their loved ones who had been admitted there. The shopkeepers and residents in the neighborhood of the hospital, they inquired about him and updates of his health condition. In this way, he attracted the minds of everyone in and around the hospital, turning it into a place of pilgrimage. Sadhus convert the places they visit into holy places of pilgrimage by the power of their devotion. Bhavad Vida Bhagavatas Tīrtha Bhuta Swayam Vibho Tirti Kurvanti Tirtani Svantasthena Gadabhrita. That's from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 13, Verse 10. Yudhishthira Maharaj said to Vidura, "Devotees like your good self are verily holy places personified. Because you carry the all-purifying Supreme Personality of Godhead within your heart, you turn all places into places of pilgrimage." And as far as I understand, this Tirti Kurvanti Tirtani has two explanations. One means that they turn all the different places that they go to into holy places. And also it can mean that that they purify even the holy places, because people go to these tirthas and they leave all their sins there. And so then the holy places get filled with all the sins of devotees. But then the pure devotee goes to these holy places and he even purifies the purifying holy places. So those are two explanations. So now, awakening the consciousness of the Jīvas. Just looking at the time. Okay, still 20 minutes. Awakening the consciousness of the Jīvas. Throughout the medical procedures and investigations during this time, Srila Gurudev mostly remained silent and never objected to anything. He would not respond to any of our calls either. Occasionally, when he came to external consciousness, we heard him say, "Bhagavan," or "Hare Rama." However, when kirtans were sung, he became animated and almost immediately and gestured in a way that intended to encourage the performance of kirtan. Following this indication from Srila Gurudev, the disciples performed Saṅkīrtana every day outside the hospital. I guess they weren't allowed to perform kirtan inside the hospital. One day, when Sri Bhakti Vibhud Muni Maharaj was leading Saṅkīrtana, Srila Gurudev turned his head toward the corner from where the sound of the kirtan was emanating and listened very attentively. When the kirtan was paused for a brief time to make a health announcement, he asked, "What is he saying?" But soon the kirtan restarted, and he entered into a state of absorption once again. When the Saṅkīrtana stopped some time later, he asked, "Is it over?" We answered, "Yes." He inquired again, "No more?" All these responses and exchanges from him in such a critical state surprised us. Therefore, with all of this in mind, we took out an audio player and started to play kirtans by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, and gradually he then returned to his inner state. Upon his visit to the hospital, Parama Pujapad Srila Bhakti Vigyan Parati Maharaj commented, "He is constantly remembering the Supreme Lord in his heart. And when the kirtans are sung, it is exhibited externally. It is exhibited externally. You should understand that he is giving you the opportunity to render service to him by his causeless mercy. You should do this with high intent." Whenever the devotees offered the kirtans, Srila Gurudev would pat his right hand at the place where his heart is located. Even at this stage, when he exhibited the pastime of speaking very few words of this material world, such bodily actions and gestures in response to kirtans only reiterated, chant from the core of your heart. On the days when kirtans were not sung, the doctors would ask us the reason for it. We thought, is it Śrīla Gurudev asking through them the reason for not performing kirtans? Through all this, I believe that the message he wanted to convey is that we should perform non-stop Saṅkīrtana, Kirtaniya Sadahari, from the bottom of the heart, a point that he emphasized in many of his Harikathas and personal conversations in the past. Apart from the sounds of the devotees singing kirtans outside the hospital premises, the ICU ward was constantly resounding with the kirtans of his Guru Varga. On certain days, the devotees sang kirtans in front of him inside the ward. In this way, the usually soundproof ICU ward was almost all of the time filled with the vibrations of kirtans, accompanied by mridanga and kartals. However, the doctors, nurses, and other staff had no complaints about it. On the contrary, they participated in those kirtans whenever they got free time from their hospital duties. Thus, the entire hospital was surcharged with devotional vibrations. Even though Śrīla Gurudev did not speak any Harikatha to them, did not speak the glories of Harinam to them, and did not even exchange ordinary speech with them, his mere presence was inspiring them to chant and listen to the holy name. This is Mahaprabhu's definition of what is an Uttam Vaishnava. Mahaprabhu says, Jahar darshane mukhe aise Krishna naam, tahare jani ho tumi Vaishnav pradhan. That's from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Nitya-līlā, 1674. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said to the residents, I think of, what was it, Kulinagram? Not Kulinagram. God, I can't remember. Anyways, he said, simply by the audience of whom Shri Krishna's holy name is automatically uttered by others, understands that person to be a highly advanced devotee. He is the best of all Vaishnavas. He's Vaishnava.
Was it Khanda?
Shri Khanda?
Shri Khanda?
For some reason, I thought it was not maybe it's Shri Khanda, but for some reason, I thought it was another one that was like near Shri Khanda. But you could be right. Actually, I'll check afterwards. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosvāmī Thakur Prabhupada wrote in his Anubhashya commentary to the above verse. He says, know that Vaishnav to be a Sarup Siddha Mahabhagavat, highly elevated devotee situated in his ontological spiritual form, by seeing whom Shri Krishna's holy name is spontaneously uttered by an observer. Such a Vaishnava is delighted in unalloyed love for Shri Krishna, and he awakens the consciousness of the living entities averse to Shri Krishna and sleeping under the spell of Maya. I'm too curious. I have to look it up. 1 second. Let's see. One second. Okay, does it come in? I think maybe it's the next verse explains. Anyhow. Whatever. Okay, sorry. Okay, let's continue. So now the next section, his indirect ways of guiding us. On the other hand, Śrīla Gurudev's health condition continued to be unsteady. Some days it improved marginally, and on other days deteriorated considerably. Newer and newer challenges presented themselves to the doctors. As needed on a few occasions, we had made aggressive medical decisions, and he had responded to each one of them positively. Though he did not articulate his wish during those days, it was evident from the course of the events that everything was being directed by him, and everything was going the way he wanted. On the surface, it appeared that he did not speak, yet he spoke. It seemed that he was not doing anything, but he did everything, and it felt that he was not seeing, but was aware of everything. Shvetashvatar Upanishad 3.19 mentions such seemingly contradictory qualities in the Supreme Lord. Apani pado javano grahita pashyatta chakshu na shrinotyakarna. He has no feet or hands, yet he walks and accepts the offerings made to him. Though without eyes or ears, he sees and hears. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya-līlā 2275 states that a Vaishnava is saturated with all the transcendental qualities of Sri Krishna, Krishna Bhakti, Krishna Ragun, Shakali Sanchari. Accordingly, the aforementioned qualities of the Lord, I don't know that word, Vaid, Svetashvatar
Vide.
Upanishad. Oh, Vide.
It's Latin.
Okay,
See.
so
See,
okay.
see Svetashvatara, refer to it.
Okay, great. Okay, so the aforementioned qualities of the Lord, see Svetashvatar Upanishad 3.19, are also present in a Vaishnava. Therefore, it is not difficult to understand that Srila Gurudev himself did everything, even though it seems that we were in the field of action or were the performers of action. The following incident is a vivid example of this. And also the first story of this book was an example of that, how he felt like that, right? So, but yeah, okay. On December 20th, 2013, 22 days after being admitted in the hospital, a new medical challenge arose. As a result, whatever little progress in Srila Gurudev's health that we thought had been achieved during the previous time period got reversed. Also, by then, we had already explored the limited medical treatment options currently available. So after this setback on that day, we became mentally agitated. When Dr. Bora visited Srila Gurudev in the afternoon, we expressed our anxiety to him, and he replied in an ambiguous manner. He said, "Guruji loves all of you very much. Do you know that?" He used to refer to Srila Gurudev as Guruji, even though he was not an initiated disciple. I thought, we know that Srila Gurudev loves us, but what or who has inspired the doctor to speak in such a way? When I asked him what made him feel so, he said, a little thoughtfully, Guruji gave you a lot of service opportunities. He gave you the feeling of satisfaction that you had offered the best treatment possible for him, relieving you of any guilt that you might have neglected anything. Moreover, he accepted your services. When I said that we hoped to offer our services to him for a longer time, the doctor gravely replied, "Leave it to him. Let him decide." After saying this, the doctor left. The words of the doctor incessantly resonated in my ears. As I was trying to understand the underlying import of the discussion, I felt like some kind of an indication was being conveyed from somewhere outside of material space. I discussed with other devotees and arranged an appointment with the doctor. When we met the doctor in the night, I asked him, "I want to understand more about the intention behind your thoughtful words in the afternoon. Do you in some sense mean that we should take Srila Gurudev to the mat now?" The doctor affirmed, "Actually, there's nothing much that remains to be offered to Guruji at this point, other than sincere prayers and affectionate service. Whatever medical treatment is available, you have already offered to him. In the hospital, devotees cannot come to see him freely. They cannot stay here for long. You should take him to the mat, where devotees can see him and talk, or can come and touch his feet. Let the devotees him." I felt that the message was in fact from Srila Gurudev, as it seems that that his purpose of visiting the GNRC hospital was finished, and that he probably wanted to return to the mott. In his previous visits to the hospitals, he directly indicated to us that he wanted to go back to the mott. But at that point of his health, he did not communicate with us directly. Instead, he did it through the doctor. On several occasions during this particular hospitalization in the GNRC, we felt that he inspired us through the words of the doctors and hospital staff, or sometimes guided us from within. After that thought-provoking advice from the doctor, we made arrangements to bring him back to Kolkata Mott. Srila Gurudev spoke volumes through his silence and attracted many living entities, although he seemingly did not perform any activity during his 30-day hospitalization. He allowed us all an opportunity to be mentally and physically occupied in his service activities. What doubt can there be that he assumed these pastimes for the benefit of all of us? Scriptures and saints give insights into such inconceivable pastimes of the pure devotees. Okay, we have 9 minutes left. I just want to see how long this section is. This is 787 words. Maybe let's leave this part for tomorrow. Yeah, well, we'll end here. Maybe we can sing a kirtan. We can sing this kirtan that's here. Niradharmagata Janavisalile.
Tomorrow is the 8th solar anniversary of his disappearance.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, he disappeared on April 20th.
Wow. Okay. Wow. So the solar day comes just the day before the lunar day. That's very special. And so wow, that's very special.
Oh, actually, there it's April 20th already. So I guess for you it's already that day.
Oh, it's that day. Okay, let's sing this song. Actually, let's read this section then. Yeah. We might go like a couple minutes over time, but we won't go that far over time. It's not that long. So, okay. So, and then we'll sing this kirtan out with mridanga and everything. So, okay. Why do Vaishnavas fall ill? While performing multifarious pastimes in this world, the pure devotees are extremely eager and busy to confer the highest welfare upon the conditioned souls. Any illness exhibited by them is a performance to bestow the opportunity of service upon the living beings, which is their only means of deliverance. One with insufficient knowledge of transcendence mistakes such activities of the pure devotees to be an outcome of past karmic reactions. However, to understand the purport of such pastimes, one needs the mercy of the sadhus and shastras. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Nitya-līlā 4:191. Prabhu ko he Vaishnav deha, prakrit kabu noy, aprakrita deha bhaktir chidanandamoy. Shri Gaurasundar instructed those who had taken shelter of his feet. A Vaishnav's body is never material like that of a karmi. Or a Vijnani, or an Anyabhilashi. An Anyabhilashi is a person who is having desires other than to please Krishna, all of whom derive pleasure from dull subject matters. A Vaishnav's body is spiritual, transcendental, fully blissful, and an object of Krishna's service. That's from the Anubhashya of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. And Srila Satchidananda Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes in his Sharanagati prayers, this beautiful kirtan. Let's read the translation first, and then we can sing it, and I'll get the mridanga out. So, O Lord Hari, even though mud and foam are seen in the holy waters of river Ganga, just like in ordinary water, the Ganga's water never loses its transcendental nature. Similarly, a Vaishnav's body is transcendental, though one may see it to be somewhat material. Nevertheless, if one criticizes a Vaishnav, he falls into a terrible fallacy. Such an offender can never be relieved of the sufferings meted out by Yamaraj. O Nanda Nandan, I pray that I may remain free from committing such an offense. The Vaishnavas are yours, and they are your glory. May they be merciful to me. Only then will I have the inclination to serve you, and ultimately obtain the shelter of your lotus feet. It says Vaishnav Sharir, aprakrita sada. It's always aprakrita, always completely transcendental, completely spiritual. And it's referring to it's saying the swabhav and vapu. So the nature of the devotees and the body of the devotees. Prabhu nahe jada, it's never material. Tatapi. And so Jay Ninde, those who criticize them, pore se vishama dharma, they fall into terrible adharma, like very yeah. And then she aparadhe, by that offense, Jamir Jatana Pai Jiva Avirata. They incessantly, Avirata incessantly get they have to undergo the suffering of Jam Maharaj. So hey Nanda Nandan, oh Nanda Nandan, Shay Aparadhe, that offense Jeno Nahi Hoyata. May I not be destroyed by such an offense. Tomar Vaishnav, your Vaishnav, Vaibhav Tomar is your Vaibhav. They are your glory. Amare Karuna Doya, may they be merciful to me. Tabe Mor Gati, then my Gati, my destination, Tabe Tava Prati, will be you, will be towards you. Pabo Tava Padachaya, I shall attain your lotus feet, the shade of your lotus feet. So yeah, very beautiful kirtan. But I think that's an important point, that it says Swabhav and Vapu is never material. So sometimes you might see a pure Vaishnav, they may seemingly get angry, but we should understand that that's not material anger. That's not the anger of this world. It's for, and their bodies might seem to go under material things, like they're suffering materially, but we should understand, no, actually, they're never material. And those who, yeah, so, okay, let's get I'm just getting the Mridanga. Unfortunately, I don't have my mic, so sound's not going to be very good. Aniradh Hari He Niradharma Kata Jana Visalile Panka Phena Drishta Hoy Tatapi Kokhon Brahmadrava Dharma Sheshalilo Nacharo Vaishnava Sharira Aprakrita Sada Swabhava Vapura Dharme Kabu Nahe Jara Tathapi Je Ninde Pore Shivishama Dharme Sheya Paradhe Jamera Jatana Pai Jivaya Virata He Nanda Nandana Sheya Paradhe Jeno Nahi Hoy Tomar Vaishnava Vaibhavato Ramare Karuna Doya Tabe Mora Gati Habe Tava Prati Tabe Mora Gati Habe Tava Prati Pabo Tava Pada Chaya Pabo Tava Pada Chaya. And this is Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's song based on the verse Dushdai Swabhava Janatara Vapushashta Doshai. So further, several years ago, during the course of a Harikatha spoken by most revered Srila Gurudev in Sri Chaitanya Gaudiya Math, Kolkata, on the occasion of the holy disappearance anniversary of his own Gurudev, he said, Vaishnavas are associates of the Supreme Lord. Nobody can force them to remain in this world against their desire. By seeing our pitiful state, they stay in this world to mercifully engage us in the service of the Supreme Lord. Out of our ignorance, we might think that the doctor's medicines are keeping them alive, but it is not true. Srila Vrindavan Das, he continues, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, the non-different manifestation of Shri Vedavyas Muni, stated, Jatta dheko Vaishnave vyavahar dukha nishchay jani hotaha paramananda sukha vishay madanda sab kichui na jane vidya made dhana made Vaishnava na chine. This is in the context of the pastime of Kolavecha Sridhar. That's
You
from
share the screen, Prabhu?
Oh, am I not sharing my screen? So sorry, guys. Okay, sorry about that. So, Jata Deko Vaishnaver Vyavahar Duk Nishchay Jani Hotahe Paramananda Sukh Vishay Madanda Sab Kichui na Jane Vidya Made Dhana Made Vaishnava na Chine. If one perceives distress in a devotee's behavior, know with certainty that it is actually the utmost ecstatic bliss. Paramananda Sukh. Those who are ignorant and maddened by earthly pleasures know nothing. Being proud of their ordinary material learning and worldly riches, they cannot know a Vaishnav. In his Anubhashya commentary on the above two verses, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Prabhupada writes, seeing the apparent worldly scarcity, ill health, indignance, and poor education of a devotee, those who consider that he is distressed that he is distressed in the absence of wealth, sex enjoyment, and material name and fame as a result of his previous actions, of his karma, are in fact deluded. Those who identify themselves with the body consider that bodily pleasures are the cause of happiness, and that their absence is the cause of misery. On one occasion, our most revered Gurudev gave instructions to his ascetic disciples in the Kolkata Math regarding why do Vaishnavas fall ill? Okay, so that was the end of that quote from Anubhashya, Srila Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. And now Srila Bhakti Ballabha Tirtha Goswami Maharaj, he mentioned that in his class, right? And now he's continuing. Those who identify themselves in the body, they consider, okay. So on one occasion, our most revered Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Madhav Goswami Maharaj, gave instructions to his ascetic disciples in Kolkata Math regarding why do Vaishnavas fall ill? Srila Bhakti Madhav, so he said, conditioned souls cannot attain emancipation from this material world without serving the Vaishnavas. Charya Vaishnava Seva Nistar Payeche Keva. Srila Narottam Das Thakur. A Vaishnav never considers himself a Vaishnav, and hence he is hesitant to accept the service of others. However, without the service of Vaishnavas, nobody can get deliverance. For this reason, by the desire of all merciful Supreme Lord Sri Hari, the Vaishnavas outwardly fall ill. In that seemingly diseased state, the Vaishnavas become dependent, thus bestowing service opportunities upon the fortunate living beings. Only an extremely ill-fated person lacks the inclination to serve the Vaishnavas. Due to his ignorance, such an unfortunate person considers the apparent distress of the Vaishnava to be like that of an ordinary human being and treats him with contempt. Wow, that is a beautiful point, and I've never heard it said exactly like that before, that Vaishnavas, they don't consider themselves to be Vaishnavas, and so they don't want to accept anybody's service. They're hesitant to accept any service from anybody. But then they perform this pastime of falling ill so that they become dependent and they can't help but accept everybody's service. Yeah, that's really... All right, so that is our program for today. As I mentioned at the beginning, tomorrow we're very fortunate to have the author of this book, Sweetest, join us, Sripad Bhakti Surit Paramadvaiti Maharaj. He'll probably be joining us at around this time right now, like right now while I'm speaking. It's 8 a.m. and that's when he'll probably join us. Maybe a little bit earlier than that though. His class ends at 7:45 a.m. every day. And but he says that the class often goes later. And I looked on his YouTube channel because all his classes are streamed there, and it seems like his classes do go till 8 o'clock generally. So, but yeah, he's with like a huge crowd of devotees. I looked at his programs, and the room's full of devotees. And so right after he finishes that program, he's just going to jump onto this Zoom program. So I hope everybody can join for that. I'm going to make a poll in our WhatsApp group to see if I should start our program at 7 a.m. like normal, or if I should start half an hour later, since our program will probably go half an hour later than normal. So everybody can vote in that WhatsApp group, and then I'll know what time to start the program tomorrow. All right, so I'll just do a short Mahamantra and we'll end here. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Shri Sachinandan Gaur Hari Ki Jai. Jai Shri Radha Nayananatha Ju Ki Jai. Jai Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai. Jai Shri Gurudev Ki Jai. Jai Shri Param Gurudev Ki Jai. Jai Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai. Swapasha Jigo Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopikan Ki Jai. Shri Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrindadevi Ki Jai. Jai Śrīla Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja Ki Jai. Jai Śrīla Bhakti Dayit Madhav Gosvāmī Mahārāja Ki Jai. Jai Shri Harinama Saṅkīrtana Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Nitaya Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavashacha Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi Sattvatai Namo Namaha. Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat pranams, everybody. All right, so see you all tomorrow. Is there anything, Rukmini Didi, or anything anybody else wants to mention before we end the program for today? If not, we'll end
Yes,
here.
Dandavat Pranam, and yeah, thank you for reading. It was quite an intense time. So, but thank you.
Yeah, and so yeah, I mean, I remember from my own Gurudev what it was like. It's so I can somewhat yeah, understand how intense. Yeah, but it's also the most powerful, like the best thing in our spiritual lives also, isn't it? It's like the most, there could be nothing more sobering and like nothing that can push us in our spiritual life more than this pastime of pure devotee. So it's their like ultimate mercy towards us, isn't it?
Yes, but I'm just remembering how fallen I am. But anyway, yes, Srila Gurudev is certainly very merciful. Thank you. Dandavat pranam to you and all the.
And that's very neat that, so for those of you on the other side of the world, like Rukmini Didi, Sripad Bhaktivedanta Bhakti Surat Paramadeti Maharaj, he'll be joining us on the solar day of his disappearance. So right now it's a solar day here in India, and our next program will be the solar day in the West. So yeah, it's very neat. Right, Dandavat pranams. Nuri Hari Prabhu, Bhavatarani Mataji, Nitai Mukeshji, Ashray Tatra Prabhu, Rukmini Didi, Chatamai Mataji, Sarveshwari Mataji, Guru Nishta Prabhu, Bhavatarani Mataji. I already said Bhavatarani. Oh, and there are a bunch of comment chat things I didn't see before. Sarveshwari Mataji, I don't know yet. That's why I'm going to make a poll in our WhatsApp group to see if I should start later or if I should start at the same time and just have an hour and a half program. Yeah, I'm happy with doing either, but I'll let everybody decide there. Haribol, Ganga Mataji, Vaiṣṇavas Prabhu, Vidyalala Siddhi, and Shripad Bhaktivedanta Sajan Maharaj, and Mahi Bharat Prabhu, Rohini Nandan Prabhu, Fuleshwari Didi, and Vaiṣṇavas Prabhu is asking if I could share his YouTube channel. I already shared it in our WhatsApp group, but I can share it again. 1 second. I'll just share it right here. I'll put it on Zoom and also, but he has lots of English classes there, but most of the classes, especially recent classes, are all in Hindi. But yeah, actually they've been having a 2-week program as well, like from the appearance day to the disappearance day. He's been getting different devotees to speak. Okay, I just put it on the YouTube chat. You'll see it there, and I'll put it on the Zoom chat also. Oh, and Sajan Maharaj would like the Zoom channel. Like you want the link to the Zoom thing? Yeah, I can share that with you. Also, if anybody wants to join our WhatsApp group, I share the Zoom link and the YouTube link every day before we start our program. So then you don't, yeah. And I also announce what we're going to be reading and all that there. All right, Dandavat pranams, everybody. If you'll find it in the Zoom chat if you want his YouTube channel. Okay. Dandavat pranams. See you all tomorrow. Jai Shri Satchidananda Bodh.